But it is wonderful to be with you this afternoon, and let me say firstly, thank you to Representative Khanna for inviting me and putting this together. I think that it's very important, particularly as the Indian American community continues to grow all across our country, that we come together in places like Washington, D.C. To talk about our future relationship with India. And I think that that is hugely important. We need to work with India to make sure that we can be a check on a rising threat from China. We need to work with India to make sure that we can focus on things like cleaning up our atmosphere, making sure that we are taking issues like energy and climate change and matters around that very seriously. And I know that that the country of India is very serious about that. And of course, how we can grow commerce together. I think that is hugely important when you look at the rising level of advancement in India right now. Where India is as far as being electrified. I mean, it is absolutely amazing, just the very quick progress that India has made in a very, very short time period. And the United States needs to continue to work with India to make sure that those dreams are realized, because it's really good for both countries. And I cannot emphasize that enough. Also, I want to talk a little bit about education, because I think that that is hugely important. After redistricting happened in 2021, after the 2020 census came out, my district went from being less than 1% Asian to being about 9% Asian, most of that South Asian. I now represent a community in Irving, Texas. It's called the Valley Ranch community. And I was just in Valley Ranch 2 weekends ago with a good friend of mine that lives in Dallas. His name is Paul Pandya. He's a very prominent businessman from India. And it was part of an organization called EduRight Foundation. And I was presenting an award to Paul and a couple of the other presenters. And I'll never forget what one of the presenters said when he was talking about education. And just like my good friend Raja was just saying a second ago, how his family had very little, but because his dad emphasized how important education was, he was able to ultimately become a U.S. member of Congress. But of course, he got a great education along the way and was an engineer. And when I talked to so many families at the library that day in Valley Ranch, just sharing the various stories about how important education is to their kids, we need to make sure that we keep education free. We need to make sure that we keep public education strong in this country, because that is what has allowed so many people from all over the globe to be able to experience upward mobility, upward income in America. It is because of a good quality education, and usually a good quality public education. One of the school districts now, just outside of my district, but a lot of my kids in the 33rd Congressional District attend school there. It's Capel Independent School District. Now, the Capel Independent School District is probably the first school district in the entire state of Texas that is majority South Asian. Most of that is Indian. Majority South Asian school district. That was just a few years ago, majority white school district. We want to make sure, again, that we keep that educational experience, that public school educational experience free. We want to make sure that people have that opportunity to go to college and be able to help make the United States a better place, not just for recent immigrants, but for everyone, because we know that many of these Indian families that are just just recent citizens, and maybe their kids are first time native born American citizens, that if we want to keep that experience growing and keep our economy growing, that we have to focus on education, because that really is the most important thing. And so with that, thank you very much for just letting me have a few words with you today. This is great. I'm learning more and more about the Indian culture as I go to various events. I was just at an event last weekend, an opening of a new restaurant. And again, it was just like Raja just said, it was man from India that literally came to America with $20 in his pocket, and now he owns an entire shopping center with ice cream shops and restaurants and coffee shops. It's an amazing story, and let's keep that story growing, going strong by making sure that we keep that we strengthen that first of all we fix our broken immigration system, and that we again make sure that all of our young people can have a quality public education. Thank you very much.